She notices his gaze before she hears her own voice. It's the stillness of it that gives him away. Not roaming. Not curious. Fixed. Don't look at me like that, she whispers, barely moving her lips. The Duke does not blink. They stand at opposite ends of the small reception room, the noise of the larger gathering muffled behind heavy doors. Candlelight glows low along the walls, reflected in polished wood and gilt frames. The room smells faintly of wine, wax, and the lingering warmth of bodies that have passed through. His attention does not waver. I'm not, he says calmly. Her pulse jumps. You are. No, he replies, finally stepping closer. I'm observing. That's worse. A faint curve touches his mouth. Not a smile exactly. Something more restrained. Yes. She shifts her weight, suddenly aware of her posture. The line of her gown. The way the candlelight catches her throat when she turns. She had chosen this dress carefully. Elegant, restrained, appropriate. It does nothing to protect her from the way he's looking at her now. You've been staring all evening, she says. Yes. And you don't think that's noticeable? I think, he replies, voice low and even, that you noticed. That sends a shiver through her she resents immediately. She folds her arms, defensive. People are starting to talk. Yes. You enjoy this far too much. No, he says. I enjoy clarity. She scoffs softly. Then be clear. What is it you think you're seeing? He closes the distance between them slowly, deliberately, until they stand close enough that the air between them feels warm. I think, he says, you're asking me to stop because you don't want to ask me to continue. Her breath catches. That's presumptuous. Yes. You always answer like that. Yes. She exhales sharply, frustration threading through the tension. You could look away. I could. But you won't. No. They stand there, the silence thick and intimate, broken only by distant laughter bleeding faintly through the walls. She feels exposed, not because of skin but because of how thoroughly seen she is. You're making me uncomfortable, she says quietly. He studies her face, not retreating. No, he replies. You're making yourself uncomfortable by noticing. Her hands curl at her sides. That's infuriating. Yes. She moves first. Not away. Sideways, toward the tall window overlooking the courtyard below. Moonlight spills across stone, silvering the night air. She rests her hands on the sill, putting something solid between them. He follows. Of course he does. Not crowding her. Not touching. Standing close enough that she feels his presence at her back. A steady weight she hasn't invited but hasn't refused. You shouldn't be here, she says. No, he agrees. I shouldn't. And yet, he echoes. She turns to face him. You're a duke, she says, as if reminding herself. People expect things of you. Yes. And I'm not. No. That makes her braver. Then stop looking at me like I belong to you. His gaze sharpens, not possessive, not angry. Honest. I'm not, he says. I'm looking at you like you belong to yourself. Her throat tightens unexpectedly. That's not better, she murmurs. It is, he says quietly. Because it means you can walk away. She searches his face for mockery. Finds none. Do you want me to? She asks. He does not answer immediately. When he does, his voice is lower. No. The simplicity of it sends a jolt straight through her. But I won't stop you, he continues. That's the difference. She swallows. You say that like you're proud of it. I am, he replies. Restraint is not the absence of desire. It's the presence of choice. Her heart pounds too loudly. She turns away again, staring out at the courtyard, gripping the stone sill harder than necessary. This is dangerous, she says. Yes. And you're still standing there. Yes. She closes her eyes briefly. When she opens them, she turns back to him. You don't back down, she says. No. And you don't chase either. No. That makes you very difficult to deal with. That makes me patient, he corrects. She lets out a soft, incredulous laugh. You call this patience? Yes. A servant passes in the corridor outside. Voices drift closer, then fade again. Privacy holds. She lowers her voice. You could embarrass me. I won't, he says. You could ruin my reputation. I won't. You could let people think things that aren't true. He meets her gaze steadily. I won't correct them. That sends a spark of alarm through her. That's not reassuring. It's honest. She studies him, seeing past the title, the composure, the careful control. You don't flirt, she says slowly. No. You don't flatter. No. And yet somehow this feels far more dangerous than either. Yes. She shakes her head. You're impossible. Yes. She hesitates, then asks the question she's been circling. Why me? He does not answer immediately. When he does, it's without drama. Because you told me not to look at you, he says. And you didn't move away when I didn't. Her breath catches. That's a thin reason. It's a precise one, he replies. The silence stretches. She becomes acutely aware of how close they are now, close enough that she can see the faint shadow at his jaw, the controlled rise and fall of his breath, the way his hands remain loose at his sides, doing nothing when they could do everything. You're very sure of yourself, she says. No, he replies. I'm very sure of you. That lands harder than anything else he said. She steps back instinctively, only one step, and he does not follow. That somehow is worse. You're not even trying to stop this, she accuses. He tilts his head slightly. Neither are you. Her chest tightens. She hates that he's right. The door to the reception room opens briefly. A laugh spills in, then the door closes again. Time presses. This can't continue, she says. No, he agrees. It will change. Into what? He considers her. That, he says, depends on whether you want me to stop looking. She meets his gaze head-on now. And if I say yes, I will, he says immediately. And if I don't, then I won't, he replies just as easily. The certainty of it steadies her. She realizes suddenly that he has given her something rare. Control not taken but offered. She inhales slowly. Don't look at me like that, she says again, softer now, less command than confession. This time he does not answer with a word. He steps closer, just enough that she feels the heat of him, the closeness no longer hypothetical. His gaze does not soften. It deepens. Her breath stutters. You're doing it again, she whispers. Yes, he says quietly. And you're not stopping. No. She swallows. Her voice comes out barely above a breath. Why? He leans in just enough that only she can hear him. Because you're not asking me to, he says. You're asking me to pretend I don't want to. Her fingers curl into the fabric of her skirt. That's dangerous, she murmurs. Yes. And you don't care. I care very much, he replies. That's why I'm still standing here. Her heart pounds. She could walk away. She knows that now. And so does he. That knowledge changes everything. She lifts her chin, meeting his gaze fully. Then don't look away, she says. Something shifts in his expression, subtle, controlled, unmistakable. I wasn't planning to, he replies. And in that moment, with the space between them charged and thinning, she understands with sudden clarity. This isn't about who will move first. It's about who will stop pretending. And neither of them has. The moment stretches longer than it should. Not because neither of them moves, but because both of them are aware of exactly how much weight movement would carry now. The Duke does not touch her. That restraint hums louder than any contact. Around them, the reception room feels suddenly too small, the air warmer, as if the walls themselves have leaned closer to listen. Somewhere beyond the door, the evening continues, unaware that something quiet and irreversible has already begun. You realize, she says softly, that once this stops being a look, it becomes a statement. Yes, he replies. And statements aren't easily withdrawn. No, he agrees. She searches his face for doubt. Finds none. What happens, she asks, when people notice you didn't look away? They already have, he says calmly. That sends a pulse of nerves through her. You're very calm about that. I am, he replies, because I don't retreat from what I'm willing to stand behind. Her breath catches. She takes one step closer. Just one. It's enough. The space between them collapses. Not violently, not suddenly, but with the inevitability of gravity finally acknowledged. She can feel the heat of him now, the quiet steadiness of his breathing, the way he angles his body without touching her, leaving the last inch unmistakably hers to cross. You said you wouldn't chase, she murmurs. I'm not, he replies. And yet here you are. Yes. Waiting. Yes. The word settles in her chest. She lifts her hand slowly, deliberately, and rests it against his coat, flat over his heart. She feels it beat, steady and unhurried. That's when his composure fractures. Not completely, just enough. His hand comes up, covering hers where it rests against him, fingers warm, firm, unmistakably present. The contact is intimate without being hurried, possessive without being forceful. You don't do anything by accident, she says quietly. No. And neither do I, she adds. He meets her gaze. I know. The honesty of that breaks the last of her resistance. She leans in. The kiss is not sudden. It is chosen. Slow at first, exploratory. Her lips brushing his as if testing whether this is real or merely imagined. His response is immediate but controlled, his hand tightening fractionally over hers, the other settling at her waist as if to steady her. The kiss deepens, not in urgency but in certainty. She exhales against his mouth, the sound soft and unguarded, and that is enough to pull a low breath from him in return. The room fades further, narrow to the press of bodies and the quiet truth that neither of them is pretending anymore. When they part, it's only by inches. Her forehead rests briefly against his. This is where things become complicated, she whispers. Yes, he agrees. And you still don't regret it? No. She smiles faintly. You never do. I do, he corrects gently. I just don't deny myself the cost. That stills her. You think this will cost you something? Yes. And you're willing to pay it? Yes. She studies him. This man who does not charm, does not persuade, does not disguise his intentions behind softness. You're not trying to win me, she says slowly. No, he replies. I'm trying not to lose myself by pretending indifference. The words land deeper than any compliment could have. Footsteps pass in the corridor again, closer this time. Voices murmur, pause, then move on. Reality presses at the edges. She pulls back just enough to look at him properly. We should rejoin them, she says. Yes, he replies. Neither of them moves. She laughs softly. You're doing it again. He lifts a brow slightly. Doing what? Letting me decide, she says. Yes. She considers the door. The evening waiting on the other side. The eyes that will follow the moment they return. Then she looks back at him. This doesn't end tonight, she says. No, he agrees. It begins. She takes a steadying breath. Then don't disappear tomorrow, she adds. He answers without hesitation. I won't. And don't pretend this was a momentary lapse. I don't pretend, he replies. That's enough. She reaches up, smoothing the lapel of his coat, an intimate, deliberate gesture that feels like punctuation rather than decoration. Then let them see, she says. His gaze sharpens with something like respect. As you wish. When they return to the larger room together, the shift is immediate. Not dramatic. Definitive. They do not touch as they enter. They do not need to. The space they share is evident in the way people glance and then look away. In the way conversations soften and reorient. Someone greets him. Then her. In that order. She feels it, not ownership, not confinement, but recognition. Later on the terrace, the night air cools the warmth still lingering on her skin. Lantern light casts soft halos across stone, and the city beyond the estate glimmers faintly. You realize, she says quietly, that people will assume all sorts of things. Yes. And you're fine with that. I'm fine with what I don't correct, he replies. She smiles slightly. That's dangerous. Yes. She turns to face him. You really don't look away. No, he says. And you don't let people look at you without intention. No. She steps closer, closing the space easily now. Then keep looking, she says softly. Just don't forget I notice first.